Hey, David Wygant here, 10-minute daily reality check, man. Reality is kicking ass in September. Hopefully we change some of your reality every single day, because I know my reality changes every day, because to me, that's what life is all about. Reality changes every day. I don't want to be set in my ways. I don't want to have to do things a certain way every day. I want to communicate my way to a brand new reality every day, which means business, love, friendship. I am going to communicate differently every day from the experiences I had the day before. Unfortunately, so many of you get stuck in what I call a communication vortex. Woo, boy. So today I got Rachel Russo, right? Rachel? Did I
Rachel Russo, that's me.
I pronounced your name perfectly right. She is a dating coach, matchmaker from New York and New Jersey. I don't know how we ever connected, but I'm happy we did connect. How did we connect? Do you remember?
I know how we connected, actually. I did a good deed and it's paid back to me. I let another dating coach who I think worked with you, Alex. I let him. Yes. I let him actually about 2 years ago. I let him sleep on my couch when he was coming to New York to do some shows and things.
Yeah, I remember that. And I remember he said that he had a really, really good time with you. And he also said to me, I said, what's she like? He goes, you would like her. And I said,
oh, yeah.
I said, did you like her? He says, yeah, I'm too young for her, blah, blah, blah. He's a baby. I mean,
He was too young for me. He did buy me groceries, though. It was cool.
Yes, he told me that. He did.
Yes.
Your groceries. Good. So I trained him really, really well, because he was a protege of mine for a long time. He's still one of my coaches and one of my friends, and I love him dearly. And he's
awesome.
He's a great guy. So Rachel, communication. In my reality, I want to learn how to communicate better every single day. It's extremely important for me, to be able to look at my communication every day. And at the end of the day, I ask myself, how could I have communicated better with that person? How could I get my point across better? How can I get my needs, wants, and desires better? And how can I communicate every single day with another human being so they fully understand me? Because there are different receivers of communication. As we know, when you date a lot, and you meet a lot of people, there's that N word that you absolutely regret running into, the narcissists of the world. There's borderline personality disorders, and there's a lot of other people out there. Those people you can't communicate with if your life depended on it. But
yeah, very challenging.
But you got a lot of frustration here when we were talking off, before the podcast started. Why does communication suck nowadays? What is it about men blaming women, women blaming men, but neither one of them stepping up to the plate? What are you finding? Because I can tell you what I find in LA. Why don't you tell me what you find in New York? And maybe the rest of the country can really listen in and learn too.
Sure. Well, I will try to make this sound as least cliche as possible, but it's almost becoming a cliche, because now with all of these dating apps, as everyone knows, it seems there's a culture in which men and women are disposable. And so everybody has all the options, and it's the paradox of choice. And so what I find happening in New York City and the surrounding area is that no one takes any one option seriously. So if someone is communicating with you via text or on one of these apps, and you say something that they don't like, or maybe they don't know how to answer because it doesn't translate well via text, they just stop talking to you. Or they don't respond right away. They take 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. And it's happening in the early stages of dating, but it's also happening in relationships where people think it's okay to disregard someone's feelings, not respond back promptly, and just treat them as if they're disposable. So it's really frustrating to me, both personally, I experience it a lot, and professionally. So I really empathize when my clients are going through it. And I see it more with men, that men are doing this to women, but that could just be because the men are not complaining as much to me about the women that are doing it to them.
All right, I'm not going to complain.
I suspect it's going on.
It's going on. And I could tell you that it's funny. People will be in full-on appreciation of one another. They'll be like, wow, I can't believe I met you. You're the greatest guy I've ever met. I am so in appreciation of you and everything else. I mean, we hear that nonstop. It's one of those things that you hear. And then all of a sudden you have a miscommunication, and the other person will just bail. Instead of like the old days where you have a miscommunication, you had no texting, no emails, none of that stuff. You literally, well, you either left a pathetic voicemail on an answering machine,
Mm-hmm.
or you got together with somebody. But now people are breaking up via email, breaking up via text. They're
Yeah.
bailing at the first sign of distress. And instead of like really seeing into someone's eyes and feeling that person out, they're bailing. And I've got to tell you, it's frustrating because I see women pulling that shit nonstop as much as men. We have a
Mm-hmm.
disregard because we have an illusion, and you said it perfectly. I've been saying it for years. There's a paradox of choice, from Bumble to the League to
Yes.
J-Swipe to Tinder. There's an illusion that you're going to find the perfect person out there. So if something tends to go a little wrong with somebody, or they say the wrong thing, well, then there's just going to be somebody else that's going to show up. But in reality, it's like a hamster on a treadmill. Nobody else is really showing up. We don't appreciate who is showing up, and we're constantly disregarding almost every conversation. We're almost afraid to get deep. It's all so superficial now.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, David. I think it's very superficial, and both men and women only want to talk about certain kind of lighthearted topics. They don't want to get into things. They don't want to rock the boat because they know this. They know that another person is just a swipe away, and it seems to me that there's no loyalty to anyone anymore. And I always say I'm born in the wrong times. I should be like a 1950s housewife, a little different, but kind of, because I'm more of the old school mentality where you stick to someone and you make it work out, because the grass is not greener. The grass is greener where you water it. And no one is really putting in the time and energy that is needed to have a romantic relationship these days, when they're just thinking they can move on to someone else.
Well, yeah, and everybody just keeps moving on and moving on and moving on. And I've noticed it in my own personal life. I've noticed that, hold on one second, okay, hold on. You know, I'm finding it a lot, especially in like my own personal life. I've noticed that I split up from my ex, that I share my daughter with 5.5 years ago. And in that time frame, I'm a relationship person. I figure half my adult life has been spent in a relationship and half has been spent healing and growing and being alone and independent and processing things and becoming a more powerful man on all levels, working on my vulnerability, whatever I need to work on between relationships, whatever lessons presented themselves. And I thank all my relationships for the beautiful lessons that I've learned, because I take full responsibility on my side of the street at all times.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm finding now my relationships over the last 5 years, since we've become socially retarded and we're sitting at home swiping and not flirting anymore. And I do flirt with people. I'm finding people bailing very, very quickly, because I look at the duration of my last 4 relationships and they go like this: 5 months, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 90 days. And
it's pretty short term. What's going on here?
Well, it's the lack of commitment that comes in. And partly, it's also, I, probably got bitten by the bug too. I mean, I'll admit it. For a while there, I was definitely a swipeaholic. I've gone to SA and I've done the 12-step swipe program, and I'm okay right now. Thou shall not swipe when dating somebody else. Thou shall not swipe when flirting with somebody else, so I've definitely practiced that, but I definitely got involved in it. And now it's funny, because now I took that probably 2 or 3 year, grass is always greener, paradox of choice, because I'm human and I love women. And I just kept thinking my perfect one was coming too. I think we're all guilty of it in one way, shape, and form. So I'll take full responsibility for me being guilty. But the last relationship I had, I was fully vested in it. And she just vanished, didn't even want to meet, didn't want to talk anymore, which is okay. It is what it is, and I learned valuable, beautiful lessons in that relationship, because I learned that I'm so ready to step up to the plate. I'm so ready to have a great relationship. Proud of the way that I behaved in that relationship. I own whatever mistakes that I made. But the thing is, our relationships are so short-lived that our lessons are not even really being fully learned. And that's what's so beautiful about relationships, is that we have a mirror reflecting back at us for a long period of time, so we can actually grow. But right now we're just bailing nonstop.
Yeah, well, I'm really glad to hear that you're coming from a place like that of gratitude and learning and growing, because I see so many people that make the same mistakes over and over again because they don't take the time in between relationships, as you've said you have, to really learn those lessons and heal and not create the same patterns and basically attract the same type of people again in different disguise, if you will. So that's a good thing. But I do think that if you stick around a little longer, that's when you get to see the other person mirroring back all of your issues to you, because it doesn't always happen in the beginning. You're just scratching the surface when everyone is still on their best behavior and kind of has their masks on. I read your book a long time ago. It was Naked Dating or something.
Yeah, it was
like
naked.
That, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and this is all coming back to me as I hear you talking about this. But I think in the beginning, it's kind of bullshit, isn't it? I mean, everyone's just doing what they think you want to hear and how you want them to act, basically. But some people could come from that place of vulnerability if they're more evolved. And I think if more and more people could do that, both parties, then we would have more sustainable relationships. If they could start that from the beginning and still like each other and want to stay together.
Well, you know, it's funny, Rachel, my friend said this something to me who's been married for 10 years. And he looked at me and I said, how do you know your wife was the one? He goes, well, we had conflict and we worked right through it. And I realized this is what I want. I want somebody who's going to stick by me. It's like conflict. I always, in a relationship, I always say, bring it on. Bring on the conflict. I want to see you at your worst. I'm watching you during your 30-day cycle of a month, you know, because each month, repeats. What do you like when you're PMSing? What do you like during your period? What do you like when stress comes in? What do you like when your parents come into town? What do you like when your brother has an issue? What do you like when your best friend and you get into a fight? I'm watching. But I think what happens is that you got to accept too. And I think people aren't accepting each other as human beings. We really have been trained to think that perfection is going to come when we are so imperfect as who we are. And just the apps alone, I mean, there's so many times I get these great communication with people and the women they make me wait 3-4 days to get back to me. And I'm like, I mean, if they write me a stupid 1 or 2 sentences, I'm going to write them a half a paragraph. I'm going to tell them, hey, this is what I did on Saturday. And, you know, this is my daughter's birthday and it was so much fun. And, you know, we jumped and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I want them to see I got a fucking personality. And then they'll vanish because they don't know what to do with a personality. So then I'll come back and I'll go, oh my God, I am so concerned about you. I said, I realized that there was an alien attack over Hollywood last night. I want to make sure that you're okay. So just get back to me and let me know that you're fine.
Does that work? Do they respond?
Well, 99% of the time.
Wow. Okay. Because most guys probably would just let them ghost and be like, okay, she's not interested and forget it. No, so it's pretty cool.
You know, you got to realize, and this is something I tell guys all the time, your communication sucks. So the fact of the matter is, if there's a woman out there that you've connected with and she vanishes, maybe there was someone else that she was talking to. Maybe she just is tired of the dating and the apps and something else. So stick your nose out there. Be a man. Go out there one more time and go, hey, why did you vanish?
Exactly. I'm all about that. I think that men need to pursue more and they just give up too easily these days. And I know women are doing what you're saying, like they still are following the rules and they're thinking they have to wait 3 days and they can't answer on a Saturday night because they're supposed to be out looking cool with their friends. So there's a little bit of that going on. And then what's also interesting about what you said is the communication styles actually via text. I see this being a problem. It's funny, like you said a paragraph. My latest ex-boyfriend laughs every time I send him a paragraph and he doesn't even read it. He just like, and I'm like, okay, I'm a writer. What did you expect? But that's someone who doesn't value who I am or my communication style if he can't even respond. And he writes back and says like K or one sentence. And I'm just like pissed off and I'm projecting all this stuff onto him. And of course, I'm using myself as an example, but this is happening all the time. People are literally getting anxious and mad and upset because they don't like the length of someone's text response or what they're saying. So it's really an interesting dynamic and interesting times we're in. It's just a lot of projection, I think, and not getting to like the core of who people are.
It's a lot of projection and it's a lot of overanalyzation. You know, I'm a writer too. So of course, if someone asks me how my day is, I'm not just going to say good. I'm going to be like, oh my God, my day is like really fantastic. Space. You know, it's my daughter's birthday today and I get to jump around a jumpy house, you know, and I get to eat really bad food. Well, maybe not eat the bad food, you know, and I get to watch kids run around on sugar all day long. And you know,
Yeah.
and then if I meet a girl who's from Jersey, I'd be like, oh my God, wait, you're a Jersey girl too? Like, I got a thing for Jersey girls, it's like, what's, and then I'm always at the end, I go talk over text. I said, let's talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's like everybody, and the woman goes, wow, look, I'm going to make him wait. Let's see. And it's so stupid. It's like, here's what I tell people all the time. If you got somebody who's making an effort, and they're writing you things outside the box, you got somebody who's actually interesting.
That's true. And what's good about what you're doing is you're painting a picture of your lifestyle. And at this point, women being so overwhelmed with all of the people on these dating apps, because all the guys just swipe on everyone who has attractive photos. We know that, the secret's out. So you're painting a picture of your lifestyle, and you're helping the girl choose, like, yes, he's for me. I'm really interested in what he's saying. Or no, like, this isn't for me at all. He's not my personal brand. Like, that's not my guy. He's not my peep. So you eliminate people and you draw the right ones to you. So I think it's brilliant. It makes the conversation more fun than having the same conversation over and over. I mean, personally, I don't want to just communicate with a stranger on an app and be like, what did you do this weekend? And, oh, I went to the movies with a friend. And, just keeping it so basic and generic, it's just boring.
Well, it's funny because I will look at what women say. I'll actually read the profile and they'll say vulnerability, rawness. And it's like, well, that's me. I mean, vulnerability, and I'm unfiltered, it's like, here I am an unfiltered man 24/7. I will always be unfiltered in every way, shape, and form. So it's interesting when women don't respond to that because you're giving them what they want. And usually the old saying is you give somebody what they want, it makes them fear it the most. Whoa, wait a second. This can actually work? The story I've been telling you doesn't work. Anyway, Rachel, we're past 10 minutes. How can people get in touch with you?
They can go to my website, rachelrusso.com. It's RACHELRUSSO. And I'm on social media there. There's all my little icons. My email is rachel@rachelrusso.com. And I have a phone number there as well if they want to reach out.
Perfect. For all the rest of you, that's today's reality. Why your communication sucks on apps. So learn how to communicate better, but not only that, stop swiping all the time and start wiping your screen. I know swipeaholics when I see your screen because it's that really greasy, disgusting screen with that thumbprint going directly across. I know you're a swipeaholic, so I strongly suggest you go to SA meetings, Swipeaholics Anonymous. You can find your local chapter near you. Tomorrow we'll be back with another show on the 10-Minute Daily Reality Check.